7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother. What we do here is go back.
Yo. What's up, everybody? Steve and Jensen here with Jessi Davin once again. Welcome to live chat. Everyone who's in the chat right now, feel free to join the chat and make sure you're subscribed and all that good stuff. We're going to be talking Gronk going back to the NFL. He's going to be playing with Tampa Bay. We're going to be talking Nia Jax and how unsafe she is as a worker. We're going to be talking AEW, a whole bunch of stuff. Before we get started, Jessi, how are you doing today?
Hanging in there, repping in the scarlet and gray today for the NFL draft. Also, we've been killing it in the recruiting game. So I thought I'd represent my Buckeyes. It looks like we have the potential to have the top 3 picks in the draft, which is really kind of incredible. Just the way that Ohio State has been able to stack talent is just unreal. So I'm really excited to see the NFL draft. It's going to be weird as hell, though, because it's like a remote draft. I don't know, like kind of ruins it. Like all the fans, the random fans that are there, it's really funny. But anyways, I'm doing all right, hanging in there. Been better, but I've also been worse. So I'm just thankful. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Can't complain. Doing well.
Doing well. Yes, grammar.
I use proper grammar here.
Yes.
Podcast that has no name still. If anybody has an idea for a name for this show, feel free to let us know in the chat. Also, as Jessi said already in the chat, any super chats do get prioritized. So if you send any super chat, no matter what the amount, not only will you be recognized on screen, we show a little graphic with your username up there to thank you for that. And we also make sure to dive deep on whatever question, comment, statement, whatever you have out there we will make sure to address that and go deep on it here on the show. But let us know in the chat, just even if it's not a super chat, feel free to just join,
Yeah.
what you're thinking about these topics, stuff like that. Most of the time, the chat's moving so quickly that, like, we can't get to everything, and that's why the super chat is so important, because that way, like, make sure we get to it.
Yeah, because, it's important, especially if you're going to pay your questions getting answered, and usually in depth. So.
Yes, absolutely. So what do you want to start with this week, Jesse? I kind of want to talk about Nia, to be honest.
Okay, let's do it. Let's just start out with a disclaimer first. Let me see something. Okay, yeah. Let's start out with a disclaimer. First of all, we are not talking about Nia Jax, the person. I cannot speak for Steven, but I think that Nia Jax is a beautiful woman. I think that she's beautiful. I think she's a great example as someone who is not the typical like model size for her to go out and model. It's just stunning. I think she's a great influence in that aspect. I think she's really nice. I think that she's a nice person, and nothing that we're saying, and we talked about this before, so I am speaking for Steven too, or Steven. Wait, yeah, there. There you are, right there. Okay. We're not talking about her as a person. Oh. There.
Nabuo style. There we go.
Yeah. And then, so we're not talking about her as a person. We're not talking about her. We're not bashing. We're not body bashing. We're not body shaming. We don't do that here. As you guys know, I'm in recovery from anorexia. I take body positivity very seriously. We are strictly talking about her as a wrestler. And now I'm going to say as a disclaimer, I am not a professional wrestler. I've had zero training inside the ring. So I can only speak from a fan perspective, which is why I'm super interested to hear your perspective, Steven, because I don't know if you've ever been like a professional wrestler. You definitely have way more experience in this than I do. So I'm really interested to hear what you have to say. But I will simply be speaking as a fan. I don't claim to be an expert on in-ring work and in-ring skill, but as a fan, I definitely have a perspective in that aspect. So let's just get that off right away. Disclaimer, so no one comes at us. They can come at you, I guess, but
Sure.
But I guess we're just gonna get going here. This is constructive criticism. Don't take it personally. It's professional wrestling. It's scripted, but injuries can be very real.
Yeah, well, I'll say I have not had professional wrestling training. I've been around people who, trained a lot. I've interviewed a lot of wrestlers, stuff like that, and I've been watching it for a really long time. I've been in the ring one time. I took one bump in my whole life, just like to say I did, basically. Took a flat back bump in a ring once, and that's it.
Well, that's experience. That's more experience than I have.
And that was years ago. I was probably 17 or so years old when I did that. It was a long time ago. But, but that doesn't mean, even for just even the casual viewer, someone who doesn't even watch wrestling that often, has like very little experience. Like, I think, we're living in an age where like everybody knows it's scripted, right? So like it's not like even if somebody brand new were to watch it, like they'd never seen it before, it's pretty likely that they would watch it and be like, oh, okay, they're not really fighting each other, because a lot of those people have also been, exposed to mixed martial arts by now also, and like what a real fight actually looks like. When you punch somebody in the face, the way that people react is much different than you would in the WWE, for instance, where you hit somebody and like it's clearly like people's heads are, but nobody's dropping, nobody's getting swollen. Like it's pretty obvious that what they're doing is two different things.
Yeah.
And I think even they would see Nia Jax and be like, oh, whoa, you're not supposed to be doing that. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's blatantly obvious. Like,
yeah.
You shouldn't be picking people up and then throwing them neck first into the bottom turnbuckle with like clearly no regard for the safety of your opponent, which is the game for this entire genre of entertainment of professional wrestling, is protecting your opponent and they protect you, and then you both, because otherwise you might as well just try to go into mixed martial arts. If you want to actually fight people and actually get hurt, like going into things knowing you're going to be hurt, then do that. But if you're in a realm of entertainment where you're because here's the thing, these girls aren't, they're letting Nia pick them up. Like it isn't.
Yeah.
She's forcefully like, oh, get over here. I'm gonna pick you up against your will, and just like they're letting Nia lift her. So you are literally giving your entire well-being to this person, like, and it's up to her to make sure she does not hurt you, and
Right.
she consistently hurts people.
Yeah.
And and right, I'm not here to body shame anybody. It was a good disclaimer beforehand. But it's one of those things where like she is much larger than most of her opponents usually. Like the only one who like even kind of compares size wise is like Tamina off the top of my head. I can think of like you could put against her and like it doesn't look like a complete mismatch like just by like the look test. And the reason I say that is because Nia is like because she is larger than most of her opponents, there's the implied level of like you have to be super careful. Like Yokozuna, for instance, like
Yeah.
he wasn't when he do the bonsai drop and like literal and Rikishi did the same kind of thing. Like and I bring these up because these are people that were usually much larger than their opponents, and they would sit on people as finishers, like just straight drop on them, sit on front of their chest. If I remember for a fact Kevin Nash talking about when he wrestled Mabel back in like 1995, and Mabel did that to him, but he actually sat on him for real, and Nash like went back and was like there was like big problems, like the dude probably almost lost his job, like it was like because you're what I'm saying, so like for it's the same kind of
That's how you get like pink eye. Ugh.
right. Well, it's the same kind of thing if Nia Jax is gonna lift these women up onto her shoulders and then just throw them. It's the same kind of thing as like some dude just straight dropping down and sitting on your chest, or somebody just picking you up for like a pile driver and just not being careful and just dropping you right on your head, like whatever it is, like, and she just consistently does it. Like you always got to go back to the Becky Lynch thing too. Like,
Yeah.
clocked Becky. That wasn't even
Broke her orbital socket, didn't she?
yeah, and there was no hint of like her trying to be like throw a professional wrestling like worked punch. Like that was a legitimate. She put everything into that and clocked her. Becky's nose was like crooked and she had a big gash under her eye.
She was swollen immediately.
Right, and that's what it looks like when you really get
Right?
hit by somebody hard. And you never. And here's the thing: you never see that, like in the WWE. Like you like never see that, like from the guys or the women. Like it's so rare that you see something that blatant and that obviously, like land like that. And
To do that much damage too.
it did all that damage, and then on top of it, like they tried to make her into like this.
The face breaker.
Yeah, they made like the face breaker thing, the heel character out of it, and it was so messed up. I gotta give a shout out to WrestleLamia because they did a really good video about this that went up yesterday. My Twitter's right below me. I retweeted it yesterday if you guys want to check the video out. It's really good. And it brings up, the same kind of points that we're talking about now, but it's like, yeah, it's crazy because, like they make this gimmick for her, and it's like the quote unquote X-Pac heat, where it's like people aren't watching you and booing because they like your heel character, they're playing along with your heel character. It's you're being rewarded for being an unsafe worker, and everybody knows it, and we also all know that you're related to The Rock, which everyone feels. I mean, I'm not gonna put any words in your mouth, but I feel like that's a safety blanket for her personally. I think that if she wasn't related to The Rock, they would be taking like these things much more seriously, or she would have at least been punished in some of these cases. But I'm just out here thinking about the wrestlers, like the people who do this for a living. That I know Brian Alvarez said it. We both listened to him. He's actually works as a wrestler. Like he's had plenty of matches. And he said Nia Jax is on the list of people he just wouldn't wrestle.
Yep. I heard that. Yeah. I completely agree. I feel like in professional wrestling, it's choreographed, it's scripted, sure, but it's such a fine art to be able to pretend wrestle and to pretend fight and make it look real. It takes two to tango, basically. It takes two people working side by side in like a hairline margin of error to make it work and to make it look good. And I would assume if I were a professional wrestler and I was if I had a match with someone, I would want to have a match with somebody that I trust. I would want to have that trust so that I could put on the best match that I could. Because if I don't trust somebody, I'm not going to have a good match because I'm going to be stiff. I'm going to be scared. I'm going to be hesitant. I'm not going to be bold. I'm not going to put in my best work if I were hypothetically a wrestler. And someone in the chat, Elliot, did say it's a pattern.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying and I have to be careful. I'm not saying Nia Jax is purposefully hurting these people, legit hurting these people. I feel like it's something she definitely needs to work on because it is a pattern. If you lose that trust, it's very difficult to gain it back. And she's losing trust not only from the fans, I feel, but one would have to assume the wrestlers as well. And I feel like if you lose that trust and you lose that credibility to be safe, and then you're effed. You're screwed. You're screwed. You have to prove that you can be safe in the ring. And like you said, and this is not body shaming, it has to do with her size as well, her physique, we should say. Her physique. She's much more of a presence in the ring than, like, say, for instance, Kairi Sane last night. You have to be able to judge a person's presence in the ring, like physically, to be able to be a safe worker. Because if I were to get into the ring with, I don't know, a person that weighs 30 pounds less than me, I'm going to be a lot more, like, gentle. If it was 30 pounds less than me, it'd be like a 10-year-old, but still. But, I'm just pretending to be beautiful supermodel, plus size supermodel. If I was a plus size supermodel and I was, I saw a smaller cheerleader or something, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of like a different body size, I would definitely be much more careful in the ring. It's like you use a different body, like you use different form, so to speak, lifting up a 5-pound weight than you would 100 pounds. Like you can't use the same kind of force and weight doing the same thing. You have to be careful. She threw Kairi Sane like she was a sack of potatoes. Like, scared me. And as a fan, if I'm speaking as a fan, I'm watching Nia Jax go out there with someone clearly of a different weight class than her, of a different in-ring physical presence than her. I'm scared as hell. It's like, it reminds me of watching Daniel Bryan do dives to the outside. Like, that shit scares me. Takes me completely out of the fun. And now I'm just worried, like straight up legit worried that this person's gonna get hurt.
When on top of it, like she's like a hypocrite, right? Like she was just talking about Ronda Rousey like injuring Alexa Bliss. Like she was talking shit about her injuring Alexa Bliss, and it's like, who are you to be talking about?
Right.
Who are you to be on your high horse talking about injuring people? Like,
right.
Like so she doesn't do herself any favors there either. Like she I'm gonna be honest, like a lot of the time she says stuff on Twitter that like I just think is just straight stupid. Like I
she like retweets stuff that's a little suspect. Like
yeah, well it's, and I get like she's I think she's attempting to like blur the line between her character and who she really is as a person on social media, especially. Yeah. So I think she says a lot of stuff on Twitter, kind of thinking like, okay, well, I'm saying this as my character, so yeah, I'm gonna piss people off, but I'm doing it for the sake of like working.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could see that being her mindset, but at the same time, it's like you gotta be really careful about that. Like when you're out there tweeting stuff like about how if you wrestled Ronda Rousey again, you'd like fight her for real. Like, if I'm Ronda Rousey, unless like they've reached out to each other beforehand and they're like, hey, I'm gonna say this about you, just heads up, and like I'm doing it because I hope we have a match, kind of thing. Like, that's one thing. But if she's out there actually saying that, and I'm Ronda Rousey and I hear that, all I'm thinking is like, oh, okay. Like, if we're ever in the ring together, like, well, I'll remember that you said that. You know what I mean? Like, because Ronda Rousey would literally end her career,
right?
If Nia Jax attempted to actually fight her. It wouldn't even be. I mean, Nia would not be. It would be the same level of like Bart Gunn got knocked out by Butterbean after winning Brawl 4.
Yeah.
You would not be able to recover from the beating that Ronda Rousey would give you in that ring.
Yeah, sorry, my daughter's trying to open the door. No, but I agree. Like, here's the thing about blurring the lines. I'm all for that on Twitter sometimes because it's Twitter. We can't take Twitter too seriously, folks. Just saying.
True.
It's Twitter, it's social media. It's kind of meant to be kind of line blurring anyway. I mean, if you're a wrestler and you have a Twitter account, I mean, I can't even imagine, but like, because just the crap that they get, which they don't just get enough credit for doing all that stuff. But when you're blurring the lines between like storyline and reality, when it comes to legitimately hurting people, I feel like that's harmful behavior, and I don't feel like that's okay. I don't really feel like taking people's actual physical pain and using it to your advantage to further a storyline is the best look for anyone. This goes for anyone. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are in wrestling. Taking some physically hurting someone and using it to your advantage. I guess you could say, oh well, the face breaker thing. Becky was cool with it. Whatever. It made Becky Lynch. It elevated Becky Lynch to be the man. You know what I'm saying? But it's like that was a one-trick pony. That was a fluke kind of thing. They both kind of embraced it. But now you're literally out there like putting people at risk.
Yeah.
And I'm not cool with you blurring the lines there because as a fan, when I'm watching you wrestle, I can't tell when you're actually going to hurt someone or not at this point. And it scares me. And I feel like she could use her social media platform for something more fun, like maybe like tweeting like those fan appreciation videos. There's some people out there that put those great beautiful like fan compilation videos to music, and they look really cool, and like embracing all the good things you've done, like when she won the championship from, was it Alexa Bliss at WrestleMania or something? Was it WrestleMania
I
in New
think so.
Orleans?
I think
Yeah.
so.
And oh my gosh, my daughter locked my husband outside. I think he's inside though. But anyway, dang, Scarlett, she's being bad. Um, but I just not a good look. Not a good look to him. Like I get embracing your flaws and turning them into something good, but when you're actually like hurting people, like that's not really a flaw that I think many people are gonna get behind unless they're like you're a legit fan. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, and like speaking of the social media stuff, like this is kind of what comes to mind when I think about wrestling Twitter in 2020, right? Like
Hmm.
right here. So this is Ethan Page's Twitter. He's
Hmm.
part of Impact Wrestling, part of the tag team, the North. In my opinion, one of the best tag teams in the world right now. Absolutely killing it. And you can see right here in his title, Ethan Page played by Julian. And that's how I feel about
That's so important.
that's how I feel about a lot of these wrestlers in 2020. Is like, okay, we all know like his real name is Julian, and he plays a character in wrestling called Ethan Page. Like, I'm not saying go out there and like continually, you know, kayfabe doesn't matter and blah blah blah. But like to a degree, it really doesn't. And it's one of those things where like we're seeing this kind of stuff pretty regularly. I've seen plenty of other wrestlers, same kind of thing. They use their real names, stuff like that. Like especially if you want to have a career like on your own, you got to establish your own name too. Like I think Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins were really smart to use their real names in their figure channel on.
Yes.
They call themselves Matt Cardona and Brian Myers all the time, and I think that was really smart because those are the names that I assume that they're going to go by when they either go to AEW or the Indies or whatever company they wind up in after WWE. So um, I believe Ethan Page owns the name Ethan Page, so I think that in that case I don't think that matters because he was using.
Which I think is smart. If you're gonna have a name that you are gonna go by and you're getting big, I think you should trademark it immediately.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like EC3 was really smart to trademark EC3.
Right.
A lot of people don't have that luxury.
Like the revival. Now they're just
Yeah,
FTR.
right. Well, now they're the Revolt is going to be
Oh, the
their
revolt.
thing.
So FTR is F the revolt. Okay.
Yeah, forever the Revolt, and then they'll change.
Forever, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and another thing about Nia, and we'll move on after this because we don't want to like
Dwell
on this
on
too
it.
long. But I've seen in the chat a few times people mentioning that she was brought up too soon from NXT, and I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with that 1,000,000%. She had a couple good moments in NXT, a couple good matches. Like for somebody as green as she was in NXT, she actually performed really well.
Hmm.
But there was some sort of disconnect between, and it might have just been straight up not having enough experience. Like in that's not really her fault. Like if the WWE fast tracked her when she wasn't ready, which I think was the case,
Hmm.
we'll just that is on the WWE in that sense, but it's also on her to like not be hurting people. Like you've been doing it long enough at this point that there's really no excuse, and you're working with. I mean, arguably, obviously, there's a lot of really talented workers all over the world for other companies, but arguably, like the most talented people in the world are going to be in the WWE as far as like people who can keep you safe. Like those are people who are built to wrestle, 300 plus times a year. Like, and that's because they have to keep themselves healthy and uninjured. So they're the best in the world at doing that. And if she's out there hurting these people that are like so safe in the ring, like that's there's really no excuse for it at this point.
Yeah, and I feel like it's harmful. It's very harmful and ignorant to assume just because someone has the bloodline and the name recognition, like in their family history, that they're just instantly going to be a good worker. Like my family, like is known for being like super duper good history buffs, and I don't know shit about history. Like I'm the worst. Like I don't. Like it's like my least favorite subject in school. Like now that I'm older, it's kind of cool, but like I suck at history. And so like for people to assume that I would know shit about like the Civil War is like dumb because I'm dumb.
That's
Um
true. True that.
so it's kind of along the same lines. Like just because someone has it in their bloodline, I think it's fair to say that genetically they may be inclined to be a quicker learner, but that doesn't mean they're going to be instantly like a guru. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like and I really do like wish the best for Nia Jax because I do think that her being not like most girls is something
Yeah,
that
the
is,
theme song.
yeah, I'm not like most girls.
Oh, that's so good. Take it what they give.
I'm not like most. I miss the eyes. Remember the eyes? Where she would go?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I miss the eyes.
I
Um,
completely forgot about
but
that.
she is beautiful. I think that not being like most girls, I think they should go with that. Hell, I mean, gosh, that would be so much better. I think that they could use her. She has the platform and to be like such a good role model, not to steal Bailey's gimmick. Um, but now we just look at her as like an unsafe worker, and that's a damn shame. And I just really hope that she can learn and take constructive criticism to be better, because that's what I think we all want as fans. I can't speak for everyone but myself. Speak in the I, not in the we, as group rules used to go. Um, I used to do a lot of group therapy. But I think we all as fans want the best product we can, and we want everyone to put on the best matches. And the best way for her to do that is to be a safe worker. So no one wants to see people get hurt. Not anybody who's a decent human being and not a psychopath.
Yeah.
um, so I think it would be for the benefit of literally everyone for her to do her best to try. I don't know how you would do that. Just practice more, I guess. I don't know. A wrestler. Oh yeah, and Ryan says she's the only female superstar whose weight they announce. I hate that. I
Is
hate
that
that.
true?
What? They used to. They used to like they because I remember she was like 30 pounds heavier than Kevin Owens or something. Like ridiculous. And I don't think that that's cool. I think that just furthers like the stigmatism and like furthers like body shaming. Like, why are we announcing her weight? Why does it matter? Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't. You can clearly see on the screen that she's like about 3 feet taller than about anyone else. Like,
Right.
like we don't need to hear her weight. For one, weight can be subjective to how much muscle and body fat you have because muscle weighs more than fat, and people's bone densities are different. So weight is kind of meh. Don't get me started. But yeah, it's just like why what are we doing here? Stop it.
Yeah, so Anthony D says they always used to announce it. They stopped after a while. Okay.
Oh, good. Okay. Okay, then
Yeah,
I'll end my rant.
that's probably a good idea. Robert Percy talking about David Flair being an example of somebody who was a. But then Reed, his other son, who unfortunately passed away after
Yeah.
an overdose. He was like really talented. He actually was an amateur wrestler in Georgia. I knew about him as like a kid. My friend Kevin back in elementary school wrestled him. We were all like so like we couldn't believe that he wrestled Ric Flair's son because like Ric Flair was at the meet and stuff. So it was like, oh my god, you got to wrestle Ric Flair. So it was like such a big deal. And then Reed wound up actually being he was like a really highly thought of prospect in OVW. I think it was OVW. It might have been FCW by then. Maybe even Deep South. I can't remember where he was.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But
It's such a shame. Such a tragedy.
Yeah, but he was apparently very talented. But yeah, David Flair not so much. There's a lot of examples of that though. Like there's people like Eric Watts. Like I've got that guy's autograph actually. He wound up actually committing suicide. Got to meet him. He can't. What's really sad is he came to my middle school back in the day. He was wrestling.
Aww.
He was wrestling for a company called TCW, Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling, and
Really?
this was after his run in WCW, and he had like a short ECW run, I think. He wrestled in TNA afterwards. Anyway. He wrestled pretty much everywhere, and his dad, Bill Watts, ran the promotions back in the day. And Eric was like seen as like this really big nepotism case because he was never very good in the ring, but he always got pushes, similar to like Greg Gagne.
Yeah.
So it's one of these things. Anyway, it was sad because when I was in middle school, Eric Watts came to my school. Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling was owned by Dusty Rhodes, and
Yep.
there's obviously the connection that I've talked about on the show where Cody went to my school and everything, and it's one of those things where like wrestlers were just kind of around like in my area.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Oh, and as a WCW mark growing up, it was unreal. Like it never got old. Like the Steiner brothers somewhere. It was always like it's insane. Still to this day, like because Scott owns a Denny's or not a Denny's, a Shoney's.
Oh my gosh, Shoney's? Are you for real?
Yeah, he owns a Shoney's with like a full bar and everything inside. It's like it's like a brunch place basically.
What? How's food poisoning in Shoney's?
But yeah, he owns a Shoney's like 10 minutes up the street, and I still mark out. I'm almost 32 years old. Like if I go in there and he's also because he's there pretty often. Like you go in there and he's there, I'm like, oh man, I'm like it's Scott Steiner. You know what I mean? Like it's still cool. And
It's so cool.
but Eric Watts came to my school. And he did this whole speech to like the whole school about like overcoming adversity and like never giving up and like because you could tell he was kind of like down and out. Like I didn't know his full story until like years later, as far as like exactly how big Bill Watts was in like the territory days and how he was seen as like this wrestling prodigy that just really didn't have the talent to match the hype and all this stuff. And I didn't know all that in middle school about him. I just knew him as this guy who came to talk to my school, had a TCW title belt.
Yeah, no class.
Right. But yeah, he gave us this whole motivational speech. And then like years later, he killed himself. And I was like, oh man, like
That really sucks.
what a turn that must have taken for that guy. Like he was motivational speaking, and now he's like doing the exact opposite. It's like, man.
Sometimes the people offering the help are the people that need it the most.
That's a great thing to like. I've never really thought of that, but I feel like that seems really true.
Yeah, it kind of is. Like I feel like a lot of people I'm not talking about that person, just like from my perspective in general.
Sure.
Like a lot of people who offer advice, it's because they don't want people to feel as sad and as depressed as they do. They don't want people, and this is just a generalization, this isn't me speaking for anyone in particular, they just want to help people because they know how much it sucks and they don't want anyone else to feel that way. So just if you are struggling, please get help. And there's no shame in it. As a lot of you know, I am a suicide attempt survivor. Woke up like a week later in ICU. So and my life is way better now. I have a kid and I'm married, so it does get better. There's always hope. Always hold on to whatever little hope you have. Especially in these times, gosh, it's really sad. It's scary, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not the afterlife. There's something. There's like a spotlight for a show or something. Like hopefully Rammstein doesn't get canceled. So just small little snippet. Just have hope, everyone.
And I'm actually, I deeply apologize if I was incorrect. I was looking up Eric Watts right now, and I think he might still be alive. Maybe.
Oh, thank God.
Maybe what I heard about was like a suicide attempt or something.
Oh gosh.
Could have sworn, like, and
Mandela effect.
I deeply apologize if I'm just completely incorrect.
Maybe you were thinking of someone else. I don't know.
Maybe I am.
Regardless, the message is still there.
The message stands true, but like I feel terrible now because I could have sworn. I don't know how that got into my head.
Mandela effect. Haven't you ever heard of the Mandela effect?
I've heard of it, but I don't know. Oh, okay, here we go. Hold on. Let me pull this up because I got to at least make sense of what I've put out into the world at this point.
Okay.
This is okay. So this is years ago. This is like 15 years ago. When he was with TNA Wrestling, he reportedly did attempt suicide.
Oh.
But he must have recovered. And that
Thank God.
was the last thing I ever heard about him, and I probably just associated that with like he wound up passing away. So there was reason for me to
It was an attempt.
just
Yes.
make that up out of the blue. I just put that out there because that would be a terrible thing to do. To just
Well, good on you for checking. Good on you for making sure you made sure you didn't just sit there and whatever. You checked. But look,
so sorry, Eric Watts. If you ever watch this, man, thanks for coming and talking to my middle school. I still have your autograph on my wall with like it's next to like I've got a Kevin Sullivan, a Macho Man, a Prince, Kevin Nash. You're all in there with those guys, so you're still being remembered over here on my wall in my office. So shout out Eric Watts.
Yes, Eric Watts.
You're still around, dude. Jeez.
Glad you're still here. Yes, I was really sad. I'm actually kind of relieved. Oh, I like your coffee mug. It's cute.
Thanks. My old boss got it for me. I went to Costa Rica like probably 5-6 years ago already now. Maybe something like that. But I went to Costa Rica. Had a way too good of a time. When I came back to the States, I told my old boss about it. And she was so cool. I love my old... Shout out to Gail Tenna. She was like one of my favorite bosses.
Gail, yes.
And she wanted to go to Costa Rica the next year and like remember all the stories I had told her about it. She gave me this coffee mug. I've had it for like 5 years. I use it all the time still. So thank you, Gail, if you ever see this.
Speaking of Costa Rica, that reminds me of the coast, which is the Gulf Coast, which reminds me of Tampa Bay.
Yes.
So I live on the Gulf Coast. There's shit going down here. Tampa Bay is a party city right now because it's a Gronk party. What's his music? His music is so lame.
Oh, it is. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. We got TB came TB, and he brought Rob Gronkowski with him. Didn't have to go far. He's probably at the PC. But yeah, Rob Gronkowski is officially a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. I believe he got traded for a 4th round pick and then a 7th round pick, which, whatever. It's 70 pounds less Gronk. But if you all know, because all of the people in here are super smart and they're fans of wrestling like us, which is not a knock, I'm not being sarcastic, I'm being true. It's literally true. We all know that he is, according to Rob Gronkowski himself, and I quote, he is the 24/7 WWE title belt champion of the world. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers themselves actually tweeted it out.
Oh, really?
Mr. 24/7. Yes, go to @Buccaneers. There's subtitles and stuff too, so you show the video. You don't have to play the audio. 2 C's. 2 C's.
Oh, hold on. Tampa.
I think it's 2 C's. I don't know. I still don't know how to spell Buccaneer. I live near Tampa.
Yeah, I got it now. There we go.
Mm.
What we got here?
Where is it? There it is.
24/7.
Yes, we need a lot of security. We need security everywhere, every tunnel, everywhere in the stadium. Let's see. Everywhere in the stadium. Because I'm the 24/7 W channel check right now of the world. Everyone's coming for me. My friends are coming for me. And it's special right now because during this quarantine time, because no one can find me. No one gets me. So while I'm the champ for a while, I'm the champ right now, everyone's going to have to be coming for me. I got to have extra security. What's crazy is to secure people. Anyone can win at any time, so I better watch out. I gotta watch my own back. Bro, you should be watching your own back anyways when you're on the field, dog. For real.
That's so funny. Imagine he's like lined up in the backfield and like Tom Brady's behind him and like rolls him up.
Can you? It will be on a it'll be on an NFL on Fox game. Wait for it. It's going to be on one of those games where it's on Fox, and they'll use it to promote SmackDown. I'm telling you, dude.
I could totally see it happening. Like, regardless of who defeats him for the belt, I could see them totally doing it during an NFL game. Like, even if it's on like the sidelines, like, you know, and he's like warming up before the game or something, where he's like, you know, on his back, like
oh man,
or something, just like warming up. And someone just kind of, like, the trainer comes up and kind of, like, puts his, like, arms on his shoulders, and a referee sneaks up behind him or something. And they get that on TV. And then they can use that to promote the show on Fox. I think that I could totally see that happening.
They are going to, because the XFL is gone, they're going to try and garner that, not only the XFL audience that they once had that is now gone, which we can talk about later too, like Oliver Luck suing the XFL. But they're also going to try and get that NFL crowd to watch SmackDown, because if you could tell, last season they promoted the heck out of SmackDown on Fox. They called Sasha Banks Sasha Shanks or something like that.
Yeah.
Just like they were getting, it was hilarious. Like, it was really funny. I think it'll be really fun. I really hope that we get a football season, because if we don't, please people check in on me, because I'm gonna be a wreck, because football is like literally my life. Like beyond like it goes football and then wrestling. Well, I mean, it goes to my daughter and then football and wrestling, but yeah, so I think it will be really interesting. I'm also interested to see how Tampa Bay utilizes Gronk. We were kind of talking about that earlier. I think that they should use O.J. Howard as their starting tight end and move Gronk to wide receiver, just because Gronkowski's lost like 70 pounds of muscle. I don't know how his blocking is going to be. I think that the NFL draft is tonight. I feel like Tampa Bay really needs to draft some good offensive linemen, because I don't think that Gronk will be able to bulk. I mean, he's done it before. He's bulked up. Like that one year, he got back in shape in a few months. But I just feel like I don't really. He's obviously a few years older. I don't need to see him trying to block and run around and try and run. And I think he would probably be a better fit for a wide receiver, especially with Tom Brady at the helm. I feel like Tom Brady is more comfortable with Gronk, and I feel like he knows the way that Gronk moves, the way that Gronk adjusts in his route, and I feel like it would probably be a better fit, because he doesn't really know like Mike Evans yet. He doesn't. I mean, Tom Brady is the GOAT, whatever. I know that pains me to say, whatever he is. But I think it'll be really interesting. Like I said, I think that they should utilize him more as a wide receiver instead of a tight end.
Yeah, I completely agree. We were talking about that a little bit before we went live, but I think it would make sense for him to be either more of a wide receiver or like the goal line type tight end, where like he's not really coming in to block, he's just coming in to like run a few yards, get open, and Brady knows exactly where he's going to be at, kind of thing. And Michael Scally, thank you very much for the heads up. He said echo alert. Let us know if that is still happening. I will do a few things to try to fix that if it is still happening. But there's a little bit of a lag between me being able to see the chat and us actually talking live. There's a few second delay, so bear with us. But I'll do my best to try to fix that. If at any point you stop hearing me completely or you stop hearing Jessi completely, please let me know, because then at least I'll be able to determine what I'm hitting versus like what's working and what isn't. But I hope it isn't too bad. We do our best to do this on the, we do it on the fly, and I'm trying to do all the controls kind of here with like a 4-screen setup kind of deal. So, it's on me if anything's messed up, but I do my best to try to fix it.
Yeah. Oh, I heard myself there.
You heard
I don't know. I heard myself going, ah. Well, yeah, I think it'll be really interesting to see what WWE does with this whole, like, oh, we have an active roster member in the NFL. Like, I think, well, you know what? Titus O'Neil, he lives in Tampa. He could be at them games. He played at Florida under Urban Meyer, I think.
I think so. I think you're right.
He played under Urban Meyer. Let me look that up. I'm pretty sure. Shout out to Urban Meyer. Go Bucks. I cannot believe Ryan Day is actually out recruiting Urban Meyer. What a world we live in.
Shout out to Oscar Mayer.
Oscar Mayer. Great hot dogs. Did you see like the Wienermobile? Like the travel was suspended because of the coronavirus. I was so upset.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was very upset. Bro, just okay. What was I gonna do? Oh yeah. Why did I open Twitter like instinctively? Let's see. Titus O'Neil. Oh, he liked my tweet yesterday about yes! Corey, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's talk about that. This is actually a good thing. Let me see.
Thank you. Thank you, Corey.
Yes, we love us a good super chat. Let me really quickly see when he played. No, he played for Steve Spurrier.
Oh, okay.
He redshirted during the national championship season. Oh, okay. With the guy who won the Heisman. Oh, what's his face? Oh, Gator quarterback who won the Heisman. Oh, it was 96. Anyways. Thank you so much, Corey. It says, what do you think about the Drake Spud stuff they're doing? Part of me thinks it's a work now. If not, it's way too cringe for me. Yeah, so he lost last night in the interim cruiserweight tournament thing.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know what to think. I feel like the amount of support and the huge reaction that his like video got was very profound, and perhaps Vince McMahon or whoever saw that and said, maybe we've made a mistake. Well, like I said, now we talked about his work ethic and just his ability to put all of his passion into the ring. Like I said, the man literally pissed his pants to pretend to be scared on national television. I'll repeat that. He pissed his pants, or gave the illusion of pissing his pants. Made himself look like like a cuck, with his wife, could not sleep with his wife, super smoking hot wife. Danny Whirlpool, that's it, yes. That's the Heisman winner. He did all of this stuff. He made the 24/7 championship fun, and all the missing posters. I thought it was so great. I'm hoping that they saw it as, a sign that maybe we shouldn't have let this guy go. Maybe we should rehire him once all this is over. I know that he had said he had agreed to do these last cruiserweight matches, and that was it. But it's super, yes. It was so much fun. And then there's him with AOP, poor AOP. I just really, I love his work, but he's also posting with EC3 right now, kind of doing that whole thing. You see him and EC3 kind of alongside each other, and Drake's almost like a manager-ish kind of figure. I mean, it kind of reminds me of Impact, TNA Impact kind of stuff that they used to do. So it's interesting. It does blur the lines, and it's not in a bad way. It's interesting. If it's not a work, it's just really freaking sad. Or he's just really good at his job.
I think that initially it wasn't a work, and then I think it kind of has become one, but maybe not even because of the WWE. If I'm Drake Maverick, it's just me. if I'm Drake Maverick and I know that there's interest from other companies, which I don't know if there is or not, but I'm assuming that there is, especially with him and EC3 going somewhere together, like if I'm Drake Maverick, I'm taking that deal and leaving WWE. If it's me. You know, I can't speak for him because like, you know, maybe you know what I think legitimately happened is he did lose his job along with, you know, many others, and then because of the response on social media, it's very possible that they were like, you know what, you know, because there's like reports that apparently like Sarah Logan's already been hired back and stuff like that.
Yeah, what is happening?
But if I'm Drake Maverick, I'm thinking like, unless you just love working for the WWE, which is possible too. He might just really
It's
enjoy.
a dream for a lot of people.
Yeah, he might just really enjoy being a part of the company, and he's happy with whatever role he gets on the show. And
Hmm.
but there's so much potential for him and EC3 going somewhere else together that he could really increase his value, I think, on the market. Whether it's an Impact or AEW or wherever it is, I think that, I mean, if I'm him, here's the thing: what EC3 is doing on social media right now, I think is brilliant.
Yeah.
He's putting out really interesting, highly produced, like very good content right now. That's getting me excited about finding out where he's going to end up, and Drake Maverick being a part of that, like, because he can add so much to it. Also, like him and EC3 work so well together,
That's what they do.
and it's a shame that they never did it in the WWE. It makes no sense. Like they tested it on some house shows and stuff, where like Maverick came out as EC3's manager, and they just like didn't do anything with it. I just think it's so obvious that you could put those two together, and they're both going to come out better because of it. Um, but
Yeah. You
yeah,
glitched
I
a
don't know.
little bit there. You went.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, basically, if I was
Whoa, you did it again.
I'm still doing it. Am I still doing it?
Yeah. No, now you're good now.
Okay. Um, but yeah, Elliot Harris says EC3 will be massive wherever he lands. The new Buzzcut version is a great reboot of his character. Yeah, I think that's smart to change your look up a little bit, and he had to do one or two things. He either had to just completely grow his hair out or cut it. He went ahead with cutting it, which is fine with me. He's as jacked as he's ever been. I've never I was never huge on EC3 in the ring. Like he's not bad, but he doesn't do anything like that. That's spectacular for me. He just kind of
Yeah.
does what he does, but it's his character and his mic skills and like the way he carries himself that I'm interested in with him. Like and he does well enough in the ring, and he kind of makes up for whether this is good or bad. I don't know, but I think he makes up for his lack of like in ring ability by his presentation, because like he looks so like credible just by looking at the guy because he's so ripped that you're like, oh okay, like if this guy clotheslined me, like I could see that being like fit.
Yeah.
And the guy's arms are huge, you know.
He's
Um,
jacked.
so
He's like Dave Meltzer jacked.
Dave Meltzer jacked. So, but yeah. So we'll see what happens with EC3 and Drake Maverick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It is kind of cringe. Like if he just goes away and like doesn't have, you know, if he somehow didn't have a future in pro wrestling, this was like the end of his career. It'd be really cringe to see what they're doing with him. Yes.
Yeah, that would be really weird. He's got a pro wrestling tee shop and he tagged NXT in it, which is so weird to me. Like I didn't can an active WWE wrestler like advertise or can have like a pro wrestling tee store?
I think so. I know it's weird though because like they obviously like WWE shop and all that, but
They don't really have any Drake Maverick merch anyway.
yeah, and I feel like there have been cases where people have had both.
Like Champa
Uh,
didn't he have his like Blackheart tee?
yeah, he had stuff, and I
But that was different. That wasn't like Tommaso Ciampa. That was just the whole Blackheart thing, right?
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, you would think that they wouldn't be allowed to have one, but
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm not sure. I think that. Hold on a second. My mom is texting me.
While you're looking at that, I'll just read this off. So Ryan Romano says AEW is a great fit for Drake and EC3. I see a lot of people in the chat saying that. I completely agree. The first thing that came to mind for me when I saw EC3 was leaving WWE was to pair him with MJF. I think
Yes.
make all the sense in the world to be perfect. You can even keep Wardlow with that group. You can almost have like I don't want to compare them to like the Four Horsemen or like Evolution
Beefy Boys.
Beefy Boys, where yeah you'd have like EC3 is kind of like the leader. Or sorry, EC3 and MJF kind of as like the leaders of the stable, and then you have Wardlow as like their muscle. Drake Maverick is like another like mouthpiece talker, but that can also wrestle kind of like a cruiserweight X Division style match. Stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd have like MJF is like the world champion, EC3 is the TV champion or something like that, or maybe vice versa, whatever scenario you want, and then you got Wardlow as the muscle and Maverick, or even maybe
Wardlow and Maverick as the tag champs. Yeah.
yeah, that
That
could
would
be
be
interesting.
such a weird dynamic.
It'd be sometimes that works out really well.
It works.
Like
Yeah. Look at
the
Marco's
really
son
tall.
and the Jurassic Express and stuff. Ooh, that would be such a good feud. Marco and versus Drake, and Wardlow and EC3 versus like, well, I guess Jungle Boy's kind of small, but like Luchasaurus,
Yeah,
just like, ooh, I like that. That would be
and
fun. I know. I was always thinking like maybe EC3 should go back to Impact or whatever. But then when we started talking about him and MJF, I thought that would be really fun. Just like, I think it would be really good.
like I personally rather see him in AEW than anywhere else because I think he deserves like the chance like in like the spotlight like I on a major because he was on during the Spike TV era of Impact, so there was a good amount of eyes on Impact when he was on that show, but it isn't the same as like being on TNT on Wednesday nights with like this AEW really not necessarily competing with the WWE like at like a worldwide level, but you know what I'm saying, like enough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's enough of a threat that it's like EC3 also got this chip on his shoulder where like
Yes.
he's been totally misused, and like this is like the put up or shut, and this isn't like as a diss, but this is like the put up or shut up moment for EC3 of like now's your chance. Like if you get signed to AEW and it fails, unless the writing is just so insanely bad, like it's on you. Like your future is in your hands now, completely. Like you can be as big of a star as you've ever wanted to be. This is the chance. You didn't get the chance in the WWE, and with Impact, he was given that spot where he was like the top guy, but. So like if he went back to Impact, he could do that again. But I feel like he's already kind of been there, done that. I don't
Been
know
there,
why
done that.
he would-
Yeah.
I don't know why he would redo unless they gave him a really, really, really good deal, and he was like, "Man, I can make."
Which I don't think they can.
I don't. Yeah, I doubt it.
No, they can't give him that money. I don't know. Like, that's so true, though. I was going to say something and I totally forgot what. Oh, yeah. I was actually at the Raw where EC3 got called up. It was on freaking like a main event, though. So I was like, oh boy.
Yeah.
That's when the writing was on the wall. But like the reaction that he got, and I'll never forget, because we were on the floor, like 3 rows back. Thank you for the new subscriber. We were like 3 rows back, so we were like row C. From like thing, and he gets up in the corner and he's like looking around, and there was like, you could tell there were tears in his eyes, like how happy he was because he was like getting such a huge pop, and it was like really wholesome. But then I was like yes, and I was like, wait a minute, he's on main event. Oh no. Like it was like this joy, and then it was like instant like realization of what their plan was. So it was just, it really, ever since then, like I've had like a soft spot in my heart because of how like happy he looked to be on the main roster and how big of a deal that was. So I do really hope that he can get back on a main roster,
Yeah. He's a he's a really nice dude. Like I met him years ago at at a local show when I was in Nashville. It was like a company called Freedom Pro Wrestling. It's like super. Sounds super redneck actually when you like think of Freedom Pro Wrestling.
Wrestling.
But he was a really nice guy. Like, I just like walked up to him and I was like, I can't remember what I said to him. I used to like kind of troll him. I still kind of do because he's puts it's actually the background of my Twitter right now from the same movie, coincidentally enough. But like this movie is like my favorite, Slackers, like from like
Yeah.
and this character here, known as his name in the movie is Cool Ethan, and EC3 has made like his Twitter handle Cool Ethan in the past and stuff like that. So I like walked up to him at like this show and I was just like, hey man, said something about like Cool Ethan, and then he like started like laughing. He's like, yeah man, that's pretty funny, blah blah blah. I was like, yeah, like, and like he was charging for like autographs and stuff, like before the show, I think, and I was just like,
Okay.
I had this little VIP badge that I was given, and he was like, oh, you want me to sign that for you? Like,
Oh.
sure. Like, and so I've got a little EC3 signed VIP pass thing in my office also, and he was super nice. I asked if he wanted a beer for the signature, and he was like, no, I'm good. Like, just no.
Aw.
So,
That's so wholesome.
whereas most people would be like, all right, it's gonna be like, you might what I called getting Virgiled, which is
Yeah.
when you walk up to the yeah, exactly.
It's rap.
For those of you who don't know, Virgil is notorious for one, not having any line to begin with at his autographs, but every now and then he does get somebody who walks up to his booth, and what he's notorious for doing is like you'll ask like how much an autographed 8x10 is, and he'll be like, oh yeah brother, what's your name, and like he'll be like Steven, and it's like to Steven, oh, and like he hasn't given you a price, so it's like to Steven, Virgil, blah blah blah. All right, so you need 8x10, like we got this, and he'll start like in like retail sales, it's called bundling, when the person you're selling to doesn't realize like they could just get everything like separately at a lower price, but you're just basically creating bundles on the fly so that you can make more money and sell more things, and they think they're getting a deal. So he'll just sit there and just start adding like his starts just signing stuff. I've heard of instances where he'll take like people's like title belts that like they didn't want signed, like right off their shoulders, and like in like permanent marker or Sharpie like sign Virgil on like replica title belts, and people are like, I didn't sign that, and he'll just like start signing stuff, and then he'll just be like, all right, it's gonna be like $300, bro, and then you're like, whoa, hold on, like all I asked for was like how much is one 8x10. And now you're trying to charge me, and then he'll get like upset if you don't want to pay him, because then he's like, "Well, I've already signed all this stuff for you."
Oh my gosh.
So that's
That reminds me of like in downtown Dallas, this used to happen. Like if you're like walking and there's like a couple, some guy will come up to you with a rose and like, this is for you, and it makes the boyfriend look really sweet, and then they'll be like, that's $20, and then you're like, oh. And then
Yes.
it's like, come on, man, you don't want to make yourself look bad, like that peer pressure. It's like, that is so bad. Virgil, don't be doing
that kind of thing totally happened to me in Vegas.
Did it really?
Ago. Yeah, I was
That's
walking down
right.
the strip. What?
I said, that's right, you were in Vegas.
Yeah, I was walking down the strip. I was smoking a joint 100% legally on the strip. It was great. So walking down the street with my my coworker who's from New Zealand, who's like never been around anything like this in his life. And
Oh my gosh.
we're just walking around, and these two chicks walk up, like, and all they're wearing is like, it's like glitter over their tits, like they're no.
Little glitter pasties?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they like walked up and like were being all nice, and they were like, and then anyway, I'm like just talking to them, and like the next thing I know, without even like, and I'm like drinking, it's like the morning time, I'm like stone, like in the morning walking around, because this is like, I was there for the UFC to like work during the event and hang out. It was like a work party kind of thing, but so I didn't have like any like responsibility this day, just disclaiming this. Like when I'm actually like doing work for MMA on Point, I'm not just like drunk and stoned and irresponsible.
Stone
This was
cold.
like a day off. So this was like a day off. So I'm walking around. The next thing I know, my arms are around these two girls, and there's somebody taking a picture of us.
Oh my god. You got
And I'm like,
ammo.
oh, okay. And like my friend takes a picture because he's like, oh, this is crazy. My friend from New Zealand is like, this is crazy. This is real. And then like, and they do that and like it's done. And then they're like, all right, so the picture's free, but we work for tips. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, don't know what's happening right now, but I'll give you like $10 or something. Like, I mean, and I felt like pretty generous for like
Yeah,
a
that's a
picture.
lot.
And they were like, yeah, normally it's more like 100 or so. And I was like, whoa, hold on. Like, I'm not
Girl, I better see
walking
some
around on the
nipples for
strip.
$100.
Yeah, I'm just walking around the strip. And anyway, like, it almost became like a problem. They got like really upset. I wound up giving them like
Really?
$5 and just like walking the other direction. But
That's scary.
same kind of thing where like you're just getting, you don't even know. You don't even know it's coming. The next thing you know, it's
Right?
wait, what? But C3 was the exact opposite. He just gave me a free autograph. Like he didn't like make me do
Awesome.
anything. So that was nice.
Super nice guy. Not swindle. Is that swindle? You got swindled? I don't know.
Yeah, just yeah.
Like,
I got.
yeah.
That's
I don't
funny.
think I've
Oh,
ever
wait,
had that.
here.
Other than the rose thing, I've never had anything like that happen to me. I don't think. Not that I can remember. Not that like traumatized me.
Elliot
Like,
Harris says that he met Virgil in Liverpool and he was just walking around with his pen, so he believes what I'm saying. Yeah,
I saw him at WrestleMania 33 at the gate. I didn't know if he had any pens. I think he had like a pocket full of pens. I can't remember. I
well,
don't want to like.
you know about Lonely Virgil, right?
Yeah.
The meme.
Yeah, that's a meme. It's so.
And that was created. Let me pull this up. Lonely. I don't know if the website's even still up. Probably is. LonelyVirgil.net. This was actually made by Sam Roberts, who now works for the WWE, which is funny.
Yeah.
But all this was.
That's the one. That's the one.
So like, it's
I hate cringe. I hate cringe. It makes me feel bad.
well, it's so fucked up because like this is what it normally looks like for Virgil, right? So like,
Yeah.
you would think that anybody who walked up and was like, "Hey man," like expecting to spend like $5-10 on like a signed 8x10 or something, like that this dude is like trying to like get you. He's like trying to like, you know what I mean? It's like, what an asshole. Like, dude, I'm the only person all day who's come up and
Be grateful.
yeah, like, yeah, be grateful. Like somebody
Jerk.
came up and wanted something from you, and now they're walking away also not a fan of yours anymore, and like now you're gonna have 0 people walking up to you the next time. Like
Now they're scared, and people word of mouth is like a thing, the
yeah,
thing. Like, why would I want to go up there? Like, maybe we should just all collectively give him like $3, and then he'll have money, so he has some like leverage, so he could not be so pushy. I don't like pushy people. That's why I never shop for cars. I don't. A, I can't afford it. B, like when I had to get my new car, I was like, oh, I don't like it. I don't like being like. I don't like negotiating.
yeah,
Hate it.
I'm not a big fan of it either. I used to be in sales for a long time. And
Oh God. Mm.
oh yeah, I used to be. Not only was I in sales, I was a sales manager for a while too. So like I had to like teach people how to sell things and like make sure they were asking qualifying questions and follow ups and bundling things like I was talking about before. It was so shisty. It was how I made money. It's like what I had to.
Gotta do what you gotta do, man.
But
But
I'm so like not in that world anymore. It's so funny. Like complete opposite. It was like a decade of that, and now it's like laid back editing MMA videos.
it's just so great.
But
Yeah.
if anyone has any other super chats or anything, please let us know because I know we've missed a ton of stuff in the chat so far today.
Yeah. We've just been kind of going off. Oh,
Yeah.
you know what we can talk about if anyone wants to ask questions while we wait. So I was texting you last night planning this, and I was telling you that I think MJF is doing kind of the same thing that he was doing to you, but I think he's just making it more obvious with like the whole hangnail thing.
Yeah.
Like that was such an interesting story because you were telling a story about how everyone was like just booing him, and he was like no, and like talking like about real shit like growing up. And how like he was gonna like fake retire or he was like retiring or something, and he got people to actually like feel bad for him, and then he swindled them.
Yeah.
So ever since you said that, I've been like, he's gonna pull that. I have a feeling he's gonna pull that sometime.
Part of me wants to show that on stream. I don't know if I can or not though. Like I could totally get on independentwrestling.tv and like pull up that promo. I just don't know if like I'm.
Yeah, you'd have to talk to IWTV about it probably first.
Yeah.
Maybe we can show it some next time and use it as clickbait.
Yeah, I'll ask. I have a few connections over there that can give me let me know if that's okay or not. But anyway, I'll show well, I won't show anything right now for the time being, but basically what Jesse's talking about is back at a Southern Underground Pro show. This is a few years ago. MJF did something very similar where he basically came out to the ring with the a knee brace on and crutches, and basically told this whole story about growing up Jewish in a community that made fun of him for being like the Jew boy and all this stuff, and never fit in anywhere except for being a wrestling fan, and like even though people booed him, like he appreciated it because this is all he ever wanted to do, and blah blah blah. Made it seem like he was gonna have to retire from wrestling. And by the time the fans had finally got behind MJF and stopped booing him, and were finally like, all right, like we gotta respect this guy for what he's done, what he is, and this isn't this part isn't a work. This is him being real. The next thing he did was knee the promoter of the company right in the nuts in the middle of the ring, and you get heat back, times 10. So yeah, I can see something
Fabulous.
happening.
Why don't we talk about, since they're in the thumbnail, Cody and Dustin?
Yeah, you were saying you think that's. I don't think that we're gonna get that match.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get.
I mean, maybe in the future.
Maybe, but how are they?
But not recently.
How are they gonna top it though? Like how are
Can't.
that first match? I just don't see it. And I also, from the beginning of this AEW TV, what are they calling it? The
TNT.
The TNT.
TNT. Yeah.
From the beginning of this tournament, right when I saw the brackets, I saw Cody on one side, I saw Lance Archer on the other side, and I figured that that's going to be the finals. And my immediate prediction was Lance Archer beats Cody to be the first TNT champion, as like a way to really establish him and Jake the Snake as like immediate top level, because there's a lot they can do with Archer with like his size and ability and stuff like that, especially with Snake in his corner. Personally, I'm always biased. I always want to see Cody always win everything. But I think it would make a lot of sense for Archer to win this whole. I'd be totally fine with Cody doing it, but I think that Archer, they've already been building towards that, and Cody didn't want to take a match against Archer because he hadn't proven himself yet in the company. And what way to prove yourself that you deserve that match than being in the finals of this tournament? Like that way, there's no excuse from any direction. Like he earned his way to the championship. The match actually happens. And if that was the scenario, which I do expect to happen, then Cody and Dustin wouldn't wind up meeting each other there. So.
Yeah, there was a lot of speculation online. Oh, we're gonna get it, but I completely agree with you. I think while it would be totally cool to see Dustin and Cody kind of go at it, I don't think they can top that Double or Nothing match. That was the match that made me a Cody Rhodes fan. Like that was the match that made me go, okay, I see you. Like that was the instant that I was like, I was wrong. Like it took one match, and it took that match, and that match was the match. And I just don't think they can top it. Maybe in a few years when people kind of low-key forget it, but I don't think it's a forgettable match. It was such a legendary match.
Yeah.
I don't see it happening anytime soon. I agree with you as far as Lance Archer is there as well. I really feel like they signed him, they put him with, freaking Jake the Snake, and I feel like they have to establish him as a brute force. I mean, they had the whole thing where they had the drone shot over the wrestling ring, and he was killing dudes, legit, not legit, but
right.
for real, all these people swarmed them, and he just murdered them all, and it was very Matt Hardy style. And I feel like it just makes sense to have Lance Archer win it all, and then from there go off, whatever. But I think establishing Lance Archer as that TNT champion could give us the potential for so many amazing and cool storylines. And I think that honestly, like, if John Moxley were to eventually lose the AEW championship, which I don't see him doing anytime soon, but they could potentially bring back their New Japan feud, which I think would be really cool. I loved that match. So there's that potential there, or they could do like a winner takes all, which they really shouldn't. That would be really dumb because there's literally only 2 championships. But I don't know, I'm just kind of like brainstorming while I talk, which is probably not a good idea. But there's so much potential there for different feuds, and since Cody can't win the AEW championship, like this could be a potential like strive. Like you get screwed out of it, and be like, I was screwed out of a championship, not by people. But I think I don't know. I just think Lance Archer should win. While I would love to see Cody versus Dustin again, I don't want that initial match to lose its magic. Like, I don't want it to be tainted or ruined. Like for instance, when, like, me going back and watching Matt and Jeff Hardy debut at WrestleMania 33, it's completely, like, lost a lot of its magic because of what happened. Like, they just kind of wet farted it. Well, I mean, not really. I mean, they won. They had like a nice little thing, but now like Matt Hardy's gone, Jeff Hardy's there. So it does kind of lose its magic, and it's kind of like the same way. Oh, there was another one of those. Like Shinsuke Nakamura's debut. Like that was super amazing and epic. His main roster call up, like all those NXT call ups that you used to see that were really freaking amazing. Like Enzo and Cass, their call-up was really cool. And now look at him. Like, it loses its magic. You're like, wow, that was such a cool moment. And then you just remember what happened. And I don't want that to happen with Cody and Dustin. I don't see it happening because I trust AEW more. So, I don't know. I'm conflicted. While, of course, I want more. I mean, human beings crave more of, like, the same thing. I mean, that happens. I don't know. Especially not this soon. Especially with Double or Nothing coming up, which is supposed to be live. Which is like, what?
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how they pull that off.
Yeah. Ryan says, a heel needs the TNT Championship. I think so. Can't Cody challenge Moxley now that Jericho is no longer champion? I don't know. Was that the stip? I thought it was he couldn't challenge for the AEW Championship ever.
Yeah, I thought that was it also, but it kind of piggybacks off Elliot Harris earlier said of feelings about Cody getting his surname back. Says he filed for it via Michael Dawkins after the copyright ran out recently. I mean, maybe that's like the loophole where, like, if, Cody can't get another Cody Rhodes never got a title shot kind of thing. Cody said for a long time, though, that, like, he doesn't want to use the last name because he doesn't feel like he needs it anymore. Like, he feels like he's, like, not that it's his name it was Dusty's name.
His freaking last name, yeah.
Well, Cody's real last name is Runnels, so that's,
yeah.
That's where, like,
it's his dad
thing comes in, but it's one of those things where, like, I don't think Cody feels like he needs to use the name anymore because he's, like, kind of used it, but, like, it would get a humongous pop, like, to hear them announce him as Cody Rhodes, because it's been so long since we've heard that. And it doesn't hurt anything. Like, I don't think he needs the last name at this point, because, people know who Cody is. Like, you hear the name Cody in wrestling, that's who you think of.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't, I just see you deleting messages. I don't even know what the thing I was saying. But yeah, I think it would make sense too, because I don't think Moxley is going to lose the title anytime soon either. I don't think he should.
I can't think of who he would lose it to.
What I would like to see eventually is him lose it to Darby. I think that would be huge for him.
That would be spicy. I like
Yeah,
that.
it would have to be in a while. Like, you'd have to build up Darby pretty,
You'd have to build up Darby a lot, yeah.
but he's already so over, and you can tell that he's somebody that Moxley like respects, like because they've done a lot of work together, and I think he's
They have the same vibe. They really
Yeah.
do. I mean, Darby's more of like a goth version of Mox. It's kind of like that punk rock, underground, skate park. Like, that reminds me of the people I hung out with at the Vans skate park in Orlando. Like, you remember the Vans place at, what was it, not Point Orlando. That mall, that mall thing. There was a Vans skate park there. That's where they filmed a bunch of Jackass stuff. I used to hang out there. Darby and Mox remind me of like two people that I definitely would have hung out with there.
Yeah. Well, I've heard like Darby, like so like this is a couple years ago. I remember Darby like because I'd been around him in person a couple times, and he's a really small guy. It's kind of crazy like to see how well he's like gotten over in like AEW considering his actual size. Like, not that the size really should matter, but like y'all would be surprised if you stood next to Darby Allin how small he actually is. And I remember being in I think it was New Orleans, and he was doing like a bunch of indie shows over the weekend, and I had seen him, and then like someone I knew was like around him afterwards, and they said that he legitimately, like completely by himself, like they stopped like they were done hanging out, and Darby just like skated off in like yeah, like he just like skated off down to like Bourbon Street or like to like yeah, like he literally like is same guy in real life as he is. Yeah. Yeah, like he didn't know where he was. No, like they didn't know where he was going. Like I don't think Darby even knew where he was going. It was just like the end of the night, and he just skated
away
the distance. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty hilarious. Also, it's like, wait, Darby Allin just like straight skated off into like the unknown, like right in front of you.
That's experience, dog. On Bourbon Street in
somewhere. Well, here's the thing.
Hold on, I gotta get new headphones really quick. My other ones died.
Sure. Well, for those of you who don't know, like downtown New Orleans, like Bourbon Street is insane, but like the crime and stuff is so bad on every street, like right off of Bourbon Street, that like you don't want to be like you don't want to stray off of Bourbon Street in the middle of the night, especially alone. And Darby clearly doesn't have any fear about that. Like he was just skating around wherever, apparently. I was terrified. Like I walked off. So my buddy, I've talked about him before. My friend, I was staying at his place. He's the guy that works for the Pelicans out there. And I was staying at his house. He had to work like an NBA show like in the morning. And he's like, "Hey man, I gotta turn in. Like, are you gonna hang out down here? And like, if you do, just grab an Uber back or whatever. I'll see you in the morning." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna hang out for a while." So I was just on Bourbon Street by myself, just drinking and whatever.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then I he lived really close by, so I like just started walking because I remembered the walk there not being that bad. So, and it was like way earlier in the day. So I'm walking back, and it's like pitch black, and I'm on these streets that like I do not recognize.
Oh my god, it's so scary.
Oh yeah, and I'm like walking around, and I'm like, okay, where am I? And then I kid you not, I just start getting chased. Like I hear like
oh my god, it's so scary.
Me. I hear footsteps behind me, and I start looking around, and I see all the lights for Bourbon Street, like kind of a little in the distance, and I just start running towards Bourbon Street.
Yeah, just run towards the lights, dude.
I'm like, there's people at least over here. The streets I was on, there was like no one on. Like it was like 5 a.m. It was like super sketchy.
Oh my god, that's so scary.
As I'm running towards Bourbon Street, a taxi driver like pulls up next to me, and he's like, "Just jump in." Like just told me to jump in his car. And I jumped in. He didn't even charge me for the ride. He like saw what was happening, like knew how dangerous like that street was apparently, and just without even charging me, just drove me to my buddy's place. Like
Oh.
he knew I was screwed if I like got stuck out there.
Shout out to that taxi driver. Oh my God, what a good person.
Yeah, I wish I knew more about the guy so I could have like thanked him afterwards. But it was like, yeah,
So
that guy maybe saved my life. Like
legitimately.
but the point of bringing that story up is like Darby Allin is just out there like skating those streets.
I mean, who's gonna stop that? Who's gonna fuck with that? Like
Imagine like rolling up on Darby and like he turns around and his face is like half painted. He's like not wrestling. His like face is like half painted, wearing like whatever he's wearing, like, you know, fishnet fucking tights or whatever he wears under
Jinkos.
booty shorts. It's like rolling up to him and then him just being like, let's do it.
What up?
It's like, wait, what? You want
Dude.
it?
I now want to meet Darby Allin. Like, I was gonna say in an alley, but that sounds weird. I want to meet him like on the street and like
Yeah.
see him skate off into the. That is what an exit. Like for any occasion. For real.
Just skate it off.
Dude, I'd eat shit. I cannot skate.
Neither can I. My balance is terrible.
Well, I just never, like, I have good balance. I can balance on one hand upside down, like, but I don't know, just skateboarding, that momentum kind of thing, I don't know. Mad respect.
Yeah, mad respect.
That is just that. I'm jealous. I'm trying to think because I'm going back to the Cracker Barrel collage because I've met Joey Janela like face to face, like straight up, and they were both in that match, right? Dude, I'm scrolling all the way up my.
I can't remember if they were both. I know Darby,
Yeah, I think
Jimmy.
Jimmy Havoc. I think it was in Joey Janela.
That would make sense.
Yeah, because the skateboard was in there. Because they did a bunch of cool shit with like the. Oh, there's my trip to Dallas. I miss Dallas, dude. If anyone's in Louisiana and stuff, I hope y'all are okay. Y'all got some whack weather yesterday. There was a bunch of tornado emergencies and stuff.
Oh yeah, I hope y'all are safe. We just had that in Atlanta, or kind of like just Georgia in general recently.
Is that Darby giving him? I don't know. I had to delete everything. There's a picture of Gardner Minshew. He looks like
Nice.
Joey Ryan.
Yeah, you did with the porn stash.
Yeah, Minshew Mania.
First time I ever saw Darby Allin wrestle was live in Chattanooga, Tennessee, in a high school gym against Joey Janela, and it was the first time. It was the first time that they ever did the spot where Joey is like sitting in the chair and gets monkey flipped and he lands sitting on the chair.
Yeah.
So that was really cool to see that live. I was like mind blown. Then like I saw him do it a few more times on the indies after that. Then of course he did it in that Cracker Barrel match. Yeah, that was really.
Have you seen the one where he like threw the chair into the ring and it like opened up and landed perfectly?
Oh really? That's nothing.
That will never be topped. Like
Was that on AEW?
No, let me find it and I'll send it to you. That was the coolest. Because I tweeted about it. It was like the coolest thing. Like Joey Janela straight up threw a chair into the ring and it opened up and landed like unfolded and ready to sit in.
That's awesome. Like couldn't have done it in a million years if you tried.
Nope. Please let it be here. Let me see photos. Was it a photo? It was like a GIF or something. Maybe it was a video. He was like, it was like wizard levels. I can't find it. Like, let me see. Let me try this. Sorry for the Joey Janela chair.
While Jesse's looking, if anybody just like has any last minute type of super chats or anything like that, any questions, statements, comments, we will make sure to give you a an in-depth answer. Make sure we're discussing that before we get off the stream. We probably won't be on here.
Yeah.
longer. So now would be the time to get anything last minute before we get out of here. And we appreciate everybody joining the chat today.
Yes.
A lot of activity again in the chat. We really appreciate that. And I know like I've said, we missed a lot, but the only way to like make sure that we talk about it on the show is through super chat.
I'm gonna tag you. I'm gonna tag you on. I'm gonna tag you in it on Twitter. I just did.
Okay, cool. I'll get this pulled up.
It's the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like nothing. It was freaking amazing.
Oh wow! Yeah, I just watched it. Okay, let me get this pulled up.
I mean.
Oh, and he like. Oh wow, and he's like. Oh.
Like if I were at that crowd, I would have collapsed. I would have gone unconscious. Like. I wish there was sound. I wish you could hear it. I don't think there's sound on it.
Yeah.
I watched that 1,000 times. Like, just the way it.
And you can see him turning around like, that was a way bigger pop than I expected for just throwing a chair in the ring.
Yeah. It's like, what? Everyone's pointing. It's just. Awesome. Oh my god, it's so cool. Like, how did that happen? Like.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Whoops, that's the wrong screen.
Whoop. We're still here.
We're still here. We
talked about everything we want to talk about. Shout out to the NFL draft. Potential for 3 Buckeyes to go 1, 2, and 3. Yes, Joe Burrow is still a Buckeye. He transferred as a graduate, so he is also a graduate of the Ohio State University. Have you seen that one of him smoking the cigar after he won the Natty?
No.
Oh, it's so cool. Yeah, Joe Burrow is a friggin' legend.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens in the draft. I'm a big Minnesota Vikings fan, for those of you who don't know, so that's my NFL team. I'm a lifelong diehard fan, and my dad's side of the family is from like Minnesota, North Dakota, like those states up there. So I always grew up watching the team. I'm interested to see what we do because we got rid of Stephon Diggs for some high draft picks, which I think we have 5 draft picks in the first like 105 picks or something like that. So we got some potentially good people coming, but there's also the rumors that we could trade some of those picks away for Odell Beckham Jr. potentially, so that could be interesting.
No, that's ours. No,
I know there's been some rumors about the possible trade to fill that void for Stephon Diggs. So that'll be interesting to see if that happens, or if they're going to just draft like a young receiver, a deep threat type of receiver. I don't know enough about college football to even know who would be the best picks. I don't know if you know who the best receivers would be, but
I don't know who declared in Ohio State's class. I know we have a good running back coming out, J.K. Dobbins. He's a really, really good running back. Let me see, NFL draft. Wide. I can tell you who would be a good pick. CeeDee Lamb out of Oklahoma. That's a really good pick. That would be I would take him over the number 1 ranking Jerry Jeudy or whatever you say from Alabama. There's 2 Alabama. T. Higgins out of Clemson, very, very good. Justin Jefferson. Donovan, if you get Donovan Peoples-Jones, just cry. Just cry because he went to that team up north and he's not. So KJ Hill is he went to Ohio State, very good wide receiver, is really phenomenal on the deep pass. Yards after reception, very, very impressive. Would definitely recommend. I think Benjamin Victor. Benjamin Victor, he's really good too. Austin Mack also went to Ohio State. Very injury prone, but I know his mom. His mom's a really sweet lady. So I would highly recommend him as well. That's what I'm looking at. So I would definitely recommend him. Benjamin Victor is also really good. Let's see. Oh man, Scarlett is mad. I should go get her. Bring her on the stream.
Go for it.
Let me go get her.
While you do that, I'm going to go through our sponsors real quick.
Okay.
So once again, for everybody who's watching the show right now, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You will have something will pop up on the screen. You are subscribing. It's totally free to subscribe. And if you have any last minute super chats, comments, statements, questions, anything like that, now is the time to do it, because we will still address that before we go off stream. As far as our sponsors for the show, shout out to Heroes and Legends. They are a professional wrestling memorabilia company. They have action figures, DVDs, autographs, all that kind of stuff. Prices, and they do basically live auctions on Facebook pretty often. So check that out, and get some good good memorabilia from good people who do a good deal. Make sure to follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at HL Pro Wrestling. There's also WrestleRumble.com. WrestleRumble.com is a place to be for all fantasy pick'em contests for professional wrestling. Always a lot of cash and prizes on the line. This is one of the walls in my office here. That NXT Championship belt I got from Wrestle Rumble doing one of their contests. I won a contest a couple years back. They sent me that title belt. It showed up in like 2 days. Some of those figures you see up there from Heroes and Legends, stuff like that. So shout out to all those people who are involved with the show. We very much appreciate it. And once again, make sure to go on Twitter and follow at Wrestle Rumble for updates on all of their contests. And lastly, I want to give a shout out to my brother Brian Jensen. He is a professional boxing coach, a personal trainer. He can help you reach your goals while you are quarantined. You can see here, there's a video I've shown a few times where this is one of his classes for his Parkinson's Foundation. He can get on camera, help you out, all that stuff. It's live. Just give him a follow on Instagram at BoxingATL. He will help you reach your goals, get a knockout workout without getting knocked out. Hit up Brian Jensen right now. And now we have Scarlett on the stream. Hello, Scarlett.
Say hi. No. She accidentally went into the neighbor's pool.
Oh.
It's one of those little pools, so it wasn't too dangerous, but that's why she's all wet. I didn't know that. What'd you do that for? Hey, what's the best way to reach you? Do you have any games? How many games you want to like and subscribe? You do? What is it? Gaga Goo? Don't lick my hair, please. That's yucky. Stop it. Say hi. Say hi. What's up? Say hi. All right. She just was having a tantrum outside, so. You're in tantrum mode, right? Hey, why don't you actually use words? No. Okay.
Make sure to plug all your stuff.
Oh yeah.
Jessi.
So the best way to reach me is obviously on Twitter. My handle is below. And also, I do have an OnlyFans where I don't just sit and talk about wrestling and make videos about wrestling, so you can get that assumption right out of your head, because it's not true. It's the best way to get into contact with me. I'm going to be answering messages on there right after this. So it's onlyfans.com/Jessi the Buckeye, JESSITHEBUCKEYE. Obviously, this is my YouTube channel, so please subscribe. Oh.
Kind of.
Is it your YouTube channel? Yeah, well, you're the most famous one on here. You got millions of views. And yeah, so just basically my Twitter. Also, I do still have a Papa John's pizza code if you want 25% off your total purchase if you want to do that to pizza.
I'll throw this up again while you're talking.
Yes, it's JESSI25. 25% off your entire online order. Do you like pizza? Yes, she does. Don't eat my hair, please. That's really yucky.
I like it.
You like it?
She likes it.
You like it like that? Yeah, baby. Get your nasty. Stop it. This towel's gross. Anyways, but those are my things, my OnlyFans, my Papa John's code, and my Twitter, and this, and then Ryan is just awesome. Ryan, thank you so much for putting everything in the chat for everyone. That's great. So that's all I have. Thank you so much to everyone who's. Oh, it's your turn. Oh, wait, okay. Thank you. Beautiful. Awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. That was so great. You're getting little freckles on your nose. That's all I had. Thank you so much to everyone who's in the chat. Thank you to everyone for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for this super chat. Corey, thank you very much. We really appreciate that. And that's it for me.
Yes, thank you, Corey, for the super chat as well. Ryan put in their patreon.com/Fightful. Yeah, if you want to check out my Weekender my Weekender podcast. I talk all non-WWE main roster stuff on the Weekender for Fightful. I do that podcast every Sunday. I'm gonna start doing BTE reviews again on there since there's like so little shows happening right now. I can at least talk about BTE and what's been going on with that. So we're always talking about that kind of stuff. Always talking about independent professional wrestling, a lot of the stuff you'd see on IWT and whatnot. So check that out.
How do we open it?
Thanks, Ryan, for putting that link in there for me as well. And yeah, thanks everyone for listening. We don't know when we're going to be live next. We never really know until kind of the day or the night before, or the morning of usually. So like, make sure you're subscribed. That way you will always be notified when we're going live, and make sure you're following both of us on Twitter. I'm at _, FIGHT_TALK_. Jesse's at Jesse the Buckeye, JESSITHEBUCKUIE. We will always tweet out links to let y'all know when we're going live, since it is such a kind of spur of the moment thing, but we really very much appreciate everybody who jumps in on these chats. For that reason also, like, we know that you just probably just see a link pop up and you click it and you jump in with us, and we really appreciate that. So thanks once again for everyone joining the chat today, and see you in the next one.
Bye. Say bye.
Bye.